So a coup is a testing point. Citizens will decide whether they stand with the lawful king or the unlawful power that is making its move. But citizens, of course, have to make that determination while everything is going topsy-turvy and no one is sure who is going to come out on top. It's one thing for us to say that we would have assisted Jehosheba as she sheltered the baby Jehoash, but bake yourself into the story for a minute. Athaliah ruled for 6 years as queen. Athaliah persuaded the powers and the authorities to join her side. The FBI was with her. CIA with her. Men with badges and guns with her. And then, of course, she's Ahab's daughter. He was powerful in the north. She has resources. And she was the king of Judah's wife. Maybe she has a right to the throne, don't you think? Can you imagine the pressure as people are being steered? Okay, this is not just Athaliah running around slaughtering all of her grandchildren. She had people enforcing her will. She had people making decisions. And we say, oh, we'll be with sweet little Jehosheba baking her biscuits in the temple. While the whole nation has gone the way of Athaliah. And imagine someone finding out about this kind of thing, discovering that Jehoiada and Jehosheba, these two rogue operatives, have a real son of David, an heir to the throne, still hidden in the temple. Can't you imagine the pressure that they would put upon those two if they're not trusting in the Lord's covenant promises? So the root here, the key, the foundation, what drove Jehoiada and Jehosheba in the midst of all of that chaos? It was the covenant that God had made with them. So imagine Jehosheba getting nervous. Okay, let's think for a second. She's caring for this little King Jehoash within earshot of where Queen Athaliah lives. It's likely that she would have been at the king's palace, at the place of the kings, which was adjacent to the temple. And she's in the temple. And you didn't have air conditioners running at night, muffling the sound. Right? She's getting nervous. What does Jehoiada come to her with? It's the covenant that God made with David. Look at the text. What does it say? God said that David would not lack a man to sit upon the throne of Judah. And do you see any other sons of David? No, you don't, because Athaliah slaughtered them all. God has made a promise about this one. He will protect this one. We have aligned ourselves with God and his covenant promises. Now notice, strikingly, that doesn't exactly say that we're going to live. We might die. We will sacrifice ourselves for this covenant promise, for these covenant purposes. But it's covenant, covenant, covenant. Without the covenant, then you're going to be manipulated by the powers that be. Apart from the covenant, whichever way the wind's blowing, whoever has the most soldiers, whatever the top brass is saying, that's what we're going to do because, well, Romans 13 says we're supposed to honor authorities, right? Yeah, and who do they serve? They serve the living God who has actually said something about this world, said something about his promises to his covenant people. So this is the only way to keep your nerve and keep your head in coup-like times. It's to hold on to the covenant.